Hello overkillers and welcome back to the channel, and all I can say is it is time. Stick around. This one's going to be cool. If you are interested in acquiring any of my overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below.
Overkill simulations, watch us as we fly. Overkill simulations, a thrill will never die.
All right, guys, so as we get into this video, this is more, and feel free to enjoy the footage and just this more talking head than anything. We're going to go through a couple things. I'm going to tell you guys why Virpil first. Why Virpil for me. I'm going to give you guys a little background where I come from so you don't think that I'm just trying to get you to shove your money out there, and let you know that, you know, I'm genuinely behind Virpil, and I'm going to tell you guys why. Then we're going to do a comparison as far as Virpil products versus other products that I have used. I have, you know, used many, especially given my financial background. I've had to start all the way from the cheapest and worked my way up to, you know, expos and things like that, being able to use some of the stuff that's a couple $1,000s, right? So with that being said, let's go ahead and start out by also telling you guys there will be timestamps down below if you guys want to skip ahead to a particular section, but let's go ahead and start out telling you guys where I come from, okay? Because I think that's important before I start telling you guys that you should put your money into a company, you know, based on my word. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with that. All right, so now let's talk about why Virpil. And I'm going to do my best to break this down as easy as I can. So again, going back to my background for just a second, I have used the Microsoft 3D Extreme. I have used CH Pro products. I have used Thrustmaster, ran the Thrustmaster Warthog. It actually still exists over on my Motion Pit. And everything up to Yoke, to the flightsim.com force feedback Yoke. Multiple different price ranges, multiple different configurations. Okay, so keeping that in mind. With everything that Virpil offers, in my personal opinion, they are the best in the market for their price point. Okay, so let's talk about why. We're going to talk about three different things. We're going to talk about build quality, customization options, as well as precision. Okay, because precision is huge in flight simulation. All right, so first, the build quality. They use all metal construction with their builds. Even this is no different, and you guys will see that when we get to the kickstart section. They are highly customizable. So, for example, I remember when I first started using it, I found it kind of odd that they sold their bases separate from the grips. Okay, and then it made far more sense because I have the CM3 base, but I have multiple grips now that I can use, including the Thrustmaster Warthog can be screwed onto their base. So you're not even limited to the Virpil lineup. Moza, their new force feedback base, can actually take the Virpil grips and go to them, and vice versa. So something to think about there. Their customization options are, in my opinion, just perfect. So let's just talk about the base, right, for the CM3. Now, that's all I have to go by. I obviously don't have this in my hand yet. But their customization options, they're always thinking ahead. And you're going to see some incredible customization options that they offer here if you didn't already catch it in the video footage. But with just the CM3 base, all right, I can change. First off, it's all metal construction with no gimbal, okay? I guess it could still be considered a gimbal, but it's an all metal construction. Okay, but it's not using a ball and knuckle gimbal. Okay, like the Thrustmaster Warthog has a ball sensor with the sensor at the top of it and a plastic gimbal that goes on top of it. And I actually inadvertently one day with a 10 centimeter extension on mine, I was in the dogfight of my life and slammed the stick forward and went like this with the gimbal and it cracked it. Okay, now, again, not dissing Thrustmaster, I turned around a week later and bought another one and I had my Virpil stuff at the time. Okay, so keeping that in mind. But there is obviously a difference in quality there. Okay, and with Virpil, they're using metal cams for both the X and Y axis, right? So they're two individual configurations. And you can change out those cams to either have a strong detent, light detent, or no detent. Okay, I run the no detent. Then you have the tension springs, and there's like 3 or 4 different tension springs that you can choose from. And then once you get your spring set up and your cam set up the way you want, then you have the ability with an Allen key to adjust the tension of each axis individually. Again, further changing whether or not you want it to be a real nice stiff pull or you want it to be nice, smooth, and light. Okay, it depends on what you're doing. The thing that I have found with Virpil controls is unless it's literally for the sake of distance, it is only for the distance from the base to where your grip needs to be. So if you decide to mount your base down low is the only reason that I can think of with a Virpil control for the need to have an extension. Where with the Thrustmaster, you needed the extension, in my opinion. Now, they've gotten quite a bit better, especially with their new ABA base. But you needed one because in order to get that, you needed to increase the leverage point on the grip in order to get that nice smooth action. Now, unfortunately, that leverage point being increased is how I cracked the gimbal. Okay, and again, guys, I can't stress it enough. That was totally my fault. I got way overzealous and went wham! And like, come on. That was my fault. Okay, I'm still not dissing Thrustmaster at all. But the nice thing about Virpil is you don't need the extension. If you want to fly like I do, like I fly side stick. I like side stick. It's far more comfortable. You know, I don't have to worry about any kind of shoulder or arm fatigue after a while. You know, I'm a big boy. I spend enough time in the gym doing that crap. I don't need to wear my arms out doing that, you know? So, that leads us into the precision, right? The axis is smooth all the way through the way I have mine set up because, again, I'm running 0 detent on the cam. So it is a smooth, consistent pull from left to right, forward and aft, doesn't matter what it is. It's like glass, okay? Which makes things like air-to-air refueling, for those of you who have ever done AAR in either DCS World or I would imagine Microsoft Flight Simulator. I haven't tried it in MSFS yet, but DCS World, if the first couple times that you do AAR in DCS World, if your shoulders aren't on fire, you have a gift. You know, that's all I'm going to say. But because it's constant, light, gentle control adjustments, but it is constant, especially if you have things like wake turbulence turned on. For those of you who don't know, wake turbulence is generated by the aircraft in front of you, usually vortices that come off the wingtips of the aircraft in front of you can cause a very massive disturbance behind you. So as you fly into those, it's the same thing with the burble effect that comes off an aircraft carrier from the conning tower. You fly into it, and it can really jerk the aircraft around quite a bit. And they can be pretty violent. So there's that, right? And then, so having that nice smooth action is a godsend. Precision flying, things like if you're trying to be the Blue Angels with some buddies, right? And you guys are flying, I'm not talking about fingertip close, I'm talking about wingtips overlapping, right? That's another one where that finite control and that super precision, that glass or smooth as glass action really makes all the difference in the world. And the last point there for especially Microsoft Flight Simulator would be us rotor heads. If you like flying helicopters, that's all it is. Very seldom in a helicopter are you going to make some dramatic large motion. Almost everything from the time you pick it up to the time you set it back down is going to be very small. You know, I always tell people in my videos when I'm flying helicopters, you fly with your fingertips. Fingertip action is where it's at when you're flying a helicopter. So a little tip for you if you're struggling to fly helicopters, if you find yourself really gripping the grip and you're doing a lot of this, Virpil, this is one of many developers, but Virpil is definitely a way to go because you're going to be able to just take your fingertip and just simply fly the helicopter, and that's all it is. It's very gentle controls. Now, there are other control sticks that will do that, but they're not in the same market. They're not in the same price point as, say, Virpil. You know, you could go down to like the Thrustmaster TM series, and I think they're like $50, you know, for one of those, sure. But again, it goes back to the quality now. Back to quality, customization, feature options, things like that. And then finally, the Virpil software. The Virpil software gives you the ability to change what the buttons do, how they do it, press and hold, rest and release. There's a lot of different things you can do with the Virpil software that further increases that, including the updates of the firmware, things like that. Okay, so Virpil offers many more features than any other developer that I have used thus far. And again, guys, please remember the first part of this video where I talked about my background. I am not just preaching when we talk about this price point. This isn't a $30 software or a $50 plane. You know, we're talking about multiple hundreds of dollars for their product. So I would not be putting my name on their product if I didn't swear by it and believe in their product and what they do. we're getting ready to bring my cockpit back into the flight deck here, if you will. It's been in the garage for a couple of weeks. We've had the welders out, the grinders out, cutting discs, spray paint, you name it. We're getting ready to bring it back in hopefully this weekend, and it's going to be Virpil primarily. We have the control panels, we have the CM3 throttle, the CM3 base, the Mongoose 2. I have a bunch of other stuff that you guys are going to really enjoy, including their rudder pedals. They have been very kind to me. I'm not going to dispute that. They have provided me with all of their products in exchange for reviews and things like that. But given my history, I need you guys to understand that I'm swearing by them because they truly are an amazing product, and they truly did change my flight simulation experience. They are pricey. I'm not going to dispute that. There's often a wait time. They're usually on a backlog or on back order. And I'm going to tell you that I also have a friend of mine who had to go through the back order process for his stuff, and he loves it. Okay, they truly are a category of their own. And what's nice about what they're doing this last year, just to get off topic for just a little bit, is they are also, so I would consider them mid-tier anywhere before this. Now they're coming down to a lower tier, cadet series as they've called it. I already did a review of their cadet throttle. Make sure you guys check that out if you're interested. Where the price point will be significantly lower, won't have as many buttons and features, but be much more affordable to the general aviator, if you will, while still maintaining that same build quality, that same solid build, and that same precision that I'm bragging about so much. They use contactless sensors in all of their products, so you don't have to worry about things grinding and wearing down over time. I've never had to take mine apart and clean it. I did have to do that, and again, this isn't to beat it; it's to express difference. But Thrustmaster, I've had to pull my base apart before and clean it out and re-grease it before. That was with my older models. I haven't had to do it with a newer one yet, but I did have to as the grease would wear out. So zero stiction, and for those who don't know, stiction is when you go to make a move on the control and it sort of sticks, and so you have to sort of push it through, and obviously that's one of the bigger things that affected the precision flying that we were talking about before. And that's where the extension on my Thrustmaster came into play. Is with that extension, when you increase the leverage point, that stiction was a lot easier and smoother to get through, right? So I can't say enough. Their customization options, as you guys already saw in the video, we're going to talk about a little bit more in the kickstart section of this, which we're about to get into. They are always thinking ahead. The fact that they have the base here, just like they did with their combat series, here with their commercial general aviation, you can change out each one of these yokes and only have one base. On the one base, you're able to pull the panels off and change it. You may want a gear lever one day, and you may change that out to the external lights that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. So customization, extremely high quality, and very, very precise. Always very smooth, always very comfortable to use. So that's enough bragging and boasting about Virpil. I hope you guys felt my genuine opinion here. And again, please, I can't stress enough, remember my background. To this day, money is still something that I have to watch very carefully as a single father of three. I work basically 3 jobs, to provide. So I get it. I'm not just telling people to dump money into something that I wouldn't swear by. Okay. So let's get into the Kickstart program so you guys can learn more about it, and you'll learn more about the products and be able to see for yourself what they're doing, as well as a roadmap to when you can expect the final product and how this is all going to work. All right, so now let's talk about the Kickstarter, which is going very, very well. 130 backers, and this is just in the first day. They have a goal of $200,000, and we're already almost halfway there. So to the community, F yeah, get it. But you guys have a ton of information here if you're willing to back on the product. Now, I'm going to let you guys, as far as the overview and introducing the steps, you guys can read through that. But let's talk about some of the things that do stand out to me right away. So once again, we were talking about the all-metal construction. Check this out. Let me zoom this in a bit, actually. I want to make sure you guys get a good shot of all this. There's that all-metal construction that I was telling you guys about. Nothing's plastic in there, okay? Even right down to the connection ring, that's a metal ring, okay? So absolutely gorgeously done. We have the 3 different yoke styles. You can purchase any yoke at any time and add it on as you choose. Again, going back to that customization option and that ability to configure the way that you want to fly. The one that grabs me the most, I'm not going to lie, is these two. These two really stand out to me. I know the Embraer status. A lot of people like those. I think they're goofy. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to try it. But I think that would be so weird. But I guess we'll find out. But anyway, so let's keep coming back. By the way, Dominic Morrison, you guys, this is the CEO of Virpil. I had the pleasure of speaking with him and meeting him out in Las Vegas. Wonderful person, very passionate about the job, not for the money. He's absolutely not. When I asked him certain questions, I'm not going to go into that part because it would be a whole long thing. But I asked him certain questions that were intentionally driven from my standpoint to determine what's your goal, and asked about certain features and asked about certain things that would very much so be there for the money. And he said, no, we're not doing that. And it would have made him money. And there would have been no other purpose than to make him money. He's like, no, we're not in it for that. We want it to be a good, well thought out product. So wonderful person, wonderful guy to talk to. It was a pleasure. So let's keep on going down. Got our there it is. Like I told you guys, premium metal construction, contactless. I was right. The contactless digital sensors, which I get pretty much everybody's using now. 180 degrees of yoke rotation. That's a big one to me. And again, I know that is pretty popular now. That's pretty much the game. But 160 millimeters of pitch travel. That's actually quite a bit of pitch travel. That's a long distance. That's a good throw, right? So for me, that's a good thing because it's going to give you more of that, again, that precision that we're talking about. Because you're going to be able to physically move the control further, therefore being able to better mentally associate that travel to get the precision that you're looking for in the adjustment of the flight, right? So anyway, you guys can read the rest of those through. Feel free to check the website. Obviously, there will be a link to this down in the description below. Okay, desk mounts. I really do like their desk mounts. Their desk mounts nice. And this one was, I love the way they did this one. Okay, the reason why, and it's very similar to Bravo and what Alpha did, right? But these quick clamps, they're so much better. They're so much better than the little screw knobs. I hate the screw knobs. For anybody who's building products and like that, get away from the screw knobs. Use these. Okay, these quick clamp connects, they're awesome. Okay, you literally, it's just a thunk. You set it to where you want, you thunk it in, and you're ready to go. But what I like is that they made it flush with your table, desk, cockpit, whatever. So when you're done with it and you're ready to remove it, it's easy peasy. I wish FlightSim.com had done that with this force feedback yoke. I think that'd been cool. Now let's talk about the big part that they're showing here, though, is the interchangeable panels. And this, again, goes back to Virpil's incredible customization. Okay, they're always being innovative. And that is what we got here. So first you have a gear lever plate. This looks absolutely phenomenal. You have the exterior lighting, strobe and navigation lights, beacon lights. Now, the only thing that I don't like, if that's really strobe... Oh, I see. Nav is here. Strobe and nav. Okay, never mind. Disregard. We're good. I was thinking that was strobe and nav or off, and that I would not have liked, but it looks like it's a 3-position switch. I didn't see the nav over here. Perfect. Okay, because obviously you're not going to want your strobe lights if you're sitting on the ramp. So anyway, so you have your external lights, which is a big one. I think what's probably the most common thing that you're reaching for when it comes to the instrument panel, aside from the radios, right? Usually we're dealing with the lights. Engine control panel. Crank, continuous. So this is going to be great for our commercial plates. And then getting to the interchangeable yoke handles. I really like that they did that. That is so smart. And it's the same thing they did with their base, right? It's the same thing they did with the CM3 and their combat bases, right? Being able to change the grip out. Same principle. I really like this configuration. This one I like. So this is more like our 737s, you know, your Boeing status. And this more your private jet. I can't. For me, it'll be either this one. I mean, I don't know. I may try it and love it, but for me, it'll be this one or this one. This one actually, I really like this one. That reminds me more like a something you see like in a Longitude or something. It looks very flashy. But I like all the hat switches, all the different button combinations. And that's the thing that Virpil has always been good about too, is that usually once you have a Virpil product, you don't need many others when it comes to button mapping. And then check it out. Here it is. Everything laid out. We're going to be reviewing these guys. Once I get the cockpit back inside, I have both of these, so you guys can get to see these in action here. You guys will be able to decide how you want it mounted. This is very, ooh, under desk mounting. Look at that. That is sick. I didn't even know this was an option until I just saw it right now. That's new to me. That's awesome. That was the one thing that I had thought about as I first saw it, is that everything is always, that was again another thing, flightsim.com. I wish they had done that with their force feedback yoke, has been able to do under the desk mounting. That's beautiful. So you can actually either do forward or you can do side mounts and have it. Good job. Good job. Using the old noggin. All right. So, and then obviously you have the option of checking out Virpil controls and using all their other stuff. And they walk you through everything else from here, guys. I'll let you guys sort of scroll your own way through and figure out everything else. Prototype units, here they are. So a lot of stuff to be talking about. They're updating their software, which I can't wait. And actually, you know what? I may check that out. And we may see if that's available now. And if that's so, then I'll do a new video on that, because we'll be doing a lot of that. And let's take a look at the product flight map. This I do kind of want to check out. So we're in the concept phase, the prototype phase, community approval phase. So that'll be November 24th through January 2025. Final design phase, and it looks like production phase. So May and June, so that's really not far. I want you guys to think about how fast this year's flown by. We're in October now, okay? So June, that's right around the corner when you really think about how quickly everything has gone by. Obviously, backers, I believe that you guys will get prototype units and things like that. So keep that in mind as well. But super, super exciting stuff, you guys. I am absolutely blown away by this. I am so excited for this. I have been wanting them, as I said, to join the general aviation community profile for quite a while. And so it's really, really excited, or I'm really, really excited to see them here. So there it is, you guys. Huge news, wonderful products, wonderful innovation. We couldn't have asked for a better team to be on this one. And I wish them the best of luck. It looks like they're going to have no problem hitting it. This is only on the first day. Hopefully you guys will join up as well. And let me know what you guys think down below. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one. Congratulations, Virpil. Keep it up.